Well, welcome along to the Timeform Sporting Life Weekend Best Bets. David Ord, joined by Andy McLaren and Ben Linfoot to preview action on both sides of the Irish Sea. Let's start with the classic, the final classic of the season, the world's oldest classic as well. The Betfred St Ledger at Doncaster. We've got the Timeform ratings graphics look at there. Look, this is tight. 131, You Got To Me, top rated. A pound clear of Illinois. Grosvenor Square 129, 128 Sunway, 127 with the all-important P2 Jan Bruegel. So £4 between the top five on the Timeform ratings. Andy, we're going to start with You Got To Me. You can see her there, top of the shop on that ratings graphic. Video form clue coming up as well in the Yorkshire Oaks. Here she is finishing second to Content. People argue this is a better run than a performance in winning the Irish Oaks.
Yeah, it looks a good move from Connections, doesn't it? Supplementing her for this race, as you can see on the ratings, with the £3 she gets from the colt, she does come out £1 clear. The question mark with her is she going to stay the extra trip? I think on the evidence of her last two runs, when she won the Irish Oaks and then this run at York, she looks like she will stay, but I'm just a bit concerned that if you go back to earlier in the year, the way she raced at Ascot and at Lingfield, where, albeit she did hold on to win at Lingfield, but she has been a bit free earlier in her career, and if she does that again at Doncaster on Saturday, she's not going to see out the extended trip. But she does, with the weight she gets from the colt, she does just about set the farm standard, and Rafe Beckett has won this with a filly in the past, hasn't he, with Simple Verse. So, yeah, it looks a good move from them to supplement her, and she had some real spice to the race, I think.
She's got a good record with fillies in it, as Rafe. Scoop, let's look at the favourite. That's not You Got To Me, it's Illinois. One of three for Aidan O'Brien. Another video clue from York, the Sky Bet Great Voltages Stakes. It's won by Los Angeles, Irish Derby winner. Did Illinois scream Ledger horse for you in second?
Well, he did really, didn't he? I mean, it's such a good record in the Ledger, the Voltager, and the way that he finishes his race to finish up just the next second behind Los Angeles, who is a very good horse running in the Irish Champion Stakes. And what price would he be in a Ledger? You'd think he'd be around even money, wouldn't you? So Illinois gets £2 this day, not beaten far. You know, he's fairly considerately handled. I think he's got an obvious chance. Having said that, he's fairly tight in the betting. He's won 1 from 5 this season. I can see why people would want to take him on as well. So he's quite a difficult one to weigh up, Illinois. But I think Aidan O'Brien's got a couple of really interesting stablemates in against him, and I'm just not convinced he's even the best contender from Ballydoyle in the race. So for that reason alone, I would be taking him on.
Might boil down to, might be the Ledger, what is the best of the Ballydoyle
Absolutely.
trio. Let's look at the Gordon Stakes, another of the key trials, won by Jan Bruegel for O'Brien and Moore. On the right-hand side with a white star there, the Westerberg colours. Andy, he was raw this day. Is he going to have learnt enough from this to win a classic at only his 4th racecourse appearance?
Well, he's going to need to, isn't he? He's going to need to sharpen up significantly from this. One thing I will say about him is if we have got stamina question marks over You Got To Me, I don't think we've got any about this lad. He's going to need every inch of this extra distance at Doncaster on Saturday. He looks a real grinder, a real steer. But like you say, this is only his 4th start. He's still very inexperienced. He is still very babyish, very raw, and he is going to need to step forward significantly from this. He beat Bellum Justin there, who I've heard a few people say that race got a form boost when Bellum Justin came out and won in America, but on the Timeform ratings, we actually have Bellum Justin running to £3 lower than he did at Goodwood than when he won in America. So I don't think he needed to improve at all to go and win in America, and I don't think the form of what he did there at Goodwood is good enough to win a St Ledger. He's going to need to progress significantly from that.
He was giving Bellum Justin weight as well once he carried a penalty in that Gordon Stakes, the winner there. And the last of the trio, Scoop, potentially a significant one, Grosvenor Square. Spot him. Oh, you don't need to. He's miles in front here in the Irish St Ledger trial.
Yeah, this was an amazing performance, really. He was 1-2 this day and entitled to win, but to win like this was pretty incredible, really. I mean, Absurd was back in 4th. He came out and won at Chester. Obviously, you can't take that literally. He was probably about 40% fit this day, perhaps, but it's perhaps a little indicator. But Grosvenor Square, for me, is the most fascinating horse in the race. He could take it apart, and when you look at it tactically, he could get an easy lead, and a lot might depend on how much rope they give Gavin Ryan on Townmoor on Saturday. You look at his earlier form as well, behind Tower of London, finished ahead of Vauban, who came out and won the Lonsdale Cup. So I think he has got quite a good body of work coming into the Ledger, proven over the distance. And it could be a case of catch me if you can with him, and they might not get to him. But it's tough to make all in the Ledger. 20 years since Rule of Law made all in the Ledger, and none since. So you made a good point. Not many market leaders or fancied horses will have tried, but still it's hard to make all around the Ledger trip at Doncaster.
It's an interesting tactical dilemma, though, isn't it? Because if he is one-dimensional, and Travel London needed every yard to get to him last time, they're going to have to go out and blast him, and that could just open the race up completely, because the stablemates might have to go earlier than they would have anticipated to get him in. It might open the door for something else as well. So, yeah, it's an intriguing St. Ledger. Let's have a look at the pace map, see how this is going to play out. Oh, no surprise there, Grosvenor Square, the one who's going to go forward, and the O'Brien, Jan Bruegel and Illinois taken to follow him. I think that's exactly how it will set up. It depends how far Grosvenor Square goes clear as to exactly what the makeup of that pace map will be. But I think it's going to be very straightforward tactically. What's probably not that straightforward is going to decide what's going to hit the post in front. Andy, you can go first. What's going to win the Ledger?
What's going to win? I think I've made a case in my head for every single horse in this race at some point over the last couple of days. It's one of those races. Isn't it?
It is.
Even the outside of Wild Waves, I liked his run in the Melrose, where I think he was quite unlucky not to go close or even win there. But saying that, I'm going to go with the favourite. I think Illinois is the most solid one. I think he's the one with guaranteed stamina. I think he's got the class. He's placed in a Group 1 over a trip short of his best. He's won a Queen's Vase. He's following a very similar path coming into this as Kew Gardens did for Ed, who won this race for Aidan O'Brien a few years ago. And just the way you can see this race panning out with Grosvenor Square blasting off in front, I'm not convinced he'll be able to get away with that again in this company and at this track. And I think Illinois is the one with guaranteed stamina, who I can see him running him down.
Scoop?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Dave. I've got it between Grosvenor Square and Sunway. I think Grosvenor Square it might be better than just a crazy front runner, and it might be tough to reel him in. But Sunway, I think he does want 1 mile and 6. He's got first time Christophe Soumillon, which we've seen this season with Goliath, can be a good pointer, and his King George form might be, the best form in this race, really. Even though he was fairly well beaten that day, he was staying on as if he wanted this test. So yeah, I've got it between the two. I don't know which one, if any, I'll back yet, but it is one of those races.
Soumillon angle is interesting, isn't it? With no Oisin Murphy, William Buick or Ryan Moore at Doncaster on Saturday. Having Soumillon on is a real bonus in this race, because I think he is the best jockey in the race by a distance.
They moved quickly to get in, didn't they, when it was clear that others would be elsewhere. I like Jan Bruegel. I think he's got onto the heels of these already while learning his trade. And if the penny has dropped, he's going to devour that long straight at Doncaster. I don't think it's anything of a stretch to see him improving past them in the Ledger, but it's a fantastic race to look forward to. Intriguing contest, let's put it that way anyway. Talk about intriguing. Irish Champion Stakes, Scoop. The Royal Bahrain Irish Champion Stakes at Leopardstown. Economics is favourite for William Haggas and Tom Marquand, taking on the might of Ballydoyle and a horse close to your heart, August Rodan. I mean, tactically, we know how this is going to play out. The Ballydoyle team are going to go forward. August Rodan's going to strike first. Has Economics got the gears and the time to reel him in?
I hope so. I really do. It might be heart ruling head, but I do think Economics is the real deal. I think we got a hint of that in the Dante. Then at Dover last time, I think he stepped forward from his York run, and I know it's hard to go into Aidan O'Brien's backyard and beat 4 Ballydoyle horses in an Irish Champion Stakes, but he might just have the talent to do it, Economics, and I'll take him to do so. It's fascinating, isn't it, the way this is going to play out with Hans Andersen, Luxembourg, then the baton pass to August Rodan, and it happened last year. It could happen again. You know me, Dave, I hate taking him on, but I think I'm going to have to take him on again with this Economics, because, I think he is the real deal, William Haggas' horse. The
one thing last year that happened that went against the hold-up horses is the rest of the field didn't keep pace with the O'Brien 3. They got away, got 3 or 4 lengths on them. Economic Tom Marquand can't allow that to happen this time. No. He can't be 3 or 4 lengths behind turning in. He needs to be within...
He needs to be in striking distance coming around the home turn, absolutely. But I do think he's got the gears and the engine and the class to do that.
And who gets your vote in the Irish Champion?
Well, you know what happens when Scoop takes on August Rodan, don't you? He wins. And I think I can just see a repeat of last year, like you said, the Ballydoyle Battalion, the relay team pretty much setting the race up for him. And with Economics, I understand you might, with Tom Marquand, I'm sure he'll want to be nice and close to them turning in. It's whether he can be, whether he's got the horse in the mid-race to get him there. You saw in France last time and at York, it takes this horse a while to hit full stride. He's drawn right out wide in stall 8. And I can just see a situation very similar to King of Steel last year, where He was a bit of an eye-catching staying on, and then went on to win the Champion Stakes at Ascot, and I can see this horse doing the same. It's very much an away day for him, isn't it? It's the equivalent of going to Manchester City away, if we're talking football terms, and I have no doubt that Economics is a proper Group 1 horse. I'm just not sure under these circumstances whether he's going to be able to do it. I think Auguste Rodin is going to have everything in his favour on Saturday.
Ghostwriter is an interesting one, isn't it? Because
Do you believe that Juddmonte form?
well, I think you see when these good horses come along, like City have tried, the form tends to be frank, doesn't it? And he's bumped into him a couple of times. I wouldn't rule him out of running really well.
He's quite a very straightforward horse as well, isn't he, tactically?
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
yeah, really interesting race at Irish Champion. But they're not the best bets from the guys for the weekend. It's time for those. I'll let you go first, Andy. What's the weekend best bet for you?
I'm going to the Curragh on Sunday for mine in the opening race there at 150, the Bold Lad Handicap Sprint. It's a bit massive field. I think we've got 26 runners we've got declared, but I think you can narrow that down quite quickly, as you know very well, Dave. These Irish sprinters are nowhere near as good as the British sprinters. There's
Cement hoofed,
as you referred to them earlier on the podcast. There's 3 British raiders in the race. Summergahand, Strike Red. They've both been drawn low, and I like a high draw at the Curragh in these big handicaps. So I've gone for St. Lawrence for Archie Watson and Holly Doyle. He's got a nice draw in stall 16. He's only £5 higher in the handicap than when he won the Wokingham last year, and he's been running really well in some really hot group races lately. I mean, you only have to go back 2 runs. He finished, I think it was 5th or 6th in the Maurice de Guise, the Group 1 at Deauville, and he was only 3/4 of a length behind Millstream there, who just won the July Cup. It's really strong form, dropping back into a handicap, and a big field, well-run race over 6 furlongs, and a stiff finish like we saw at Ascot suits him really well, and as long as the gaps appear at the right time for him, I think St. Lawrence will run a big race for Archie Watson and Holly Doyle.
St. Lawrence for Andy Scoop.
I'm going to go for it in the Portland, Dave.
That's a spirits.
Yeah, with Aberama Gold.
The trifecta. Oh, just a single selection.
It's a single selection, 20-1 shot each way. Aberama Gold, fantastic record at Doncaster. He's won at Donny off marks of 92 and 96. He runs off 87 on Saturday. He's been placed several times there as well. And I thought he shaped really well at Ayr 3 starts ago. That was his last run on turf. When a very close up third off a higher mark, just hinting that he's about to win again, and a couple of racing league performances on. I think he'll be cherry ripe for Saturday, so could do with a little bit more juice in the ground perhaps, but I think he'll be fine, and at 20-1 I can't resist him.
There you go, 2 big priced weekend best bets in 2 big sprint handicaps. Thanks to Andy and thanks to Ben, and thank you for watching. We'll be back next week to look ahead to the Airgirl Cup. It doesn't get any easier, does it? But before then, best of luck with your own weekend wagers.